The Olympics are one of the few sporting events that go way beyond just sports. Even non-sports fans tune in yearly to watch the event because where else are you going to see such unbelievable feats? The Olympics, over the years, have shown us just what the human body is capable of. So in this video, we're going to go over some Olympic records that will blow your mind. Firstly, our pick for number 10 just had to be this one. We're sure you expected to see the name of an individual for our first pick, but our choice for number 15 had to be the country of China. China has the world record for most gold medals in table tennis at the Olympics. We're talking about certain countries dominating certain sports, and China and table tennis is truly a love affair that no one has been able to topple. Since the introduction of Olympic table tennis all the way back in 1988, China has won virtually every single medal. Yes, you heard that right. China has won a whopping 41 gold medals for Olympic table tennis since the sport's induction. For comparison, only 4 gold medals have gone to non-Chinese athletes. China has been practically unchallenged when it comes to table tennis, with most finals being China versus China. Now that's what we call domination. Coming up, we had to go with this for number 9. Before we tell you our pick for number 14, we have to ask you a question. What were you doing at age 13? Probably watching TV, playing video games, trying to get out of doing your homework? Well, get ready to feel horrible about yourself, because at number 9, we've got the youngest person to ever win Olympic gold. At age 13, Marjorie Gestring from America took home a gold medal for a 3-meter springboard. Years before most of us even could drive a car, this 13-year-old girl was bringing home Olympic gold. Talk about an overachiever. To make things even more impressive, Marjorie won the gold at the Berlin Olympics in 1936, meaning she won it in front of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party in attendance. So next time you think about that poetry competition you won when you were 13, maybe think about Marjorie. Moving on, we've picked a really unique one for number 8. At the Sydney Olympics in 2004, 42-year-old German Birgit Fischer made Olympic history. The kayak legend became the first and only Olympian to win an Olympic gold a whole 24 years after her first one. Fischer had won 5 gold medals at 5 different iterations of the Olympic Games, but that still wasn't enough for the kayaking great. She came back in 2004 at the age of 42 to win a 6th gold medal for Germany, as she beat out the Hungarians to another gold medal. She was trailing 4 of the Hungarians by the time she got to the halfway point, but she pushed her team on and all the way to the gold. She was also the only one able to muster up the strength to even celebrate the win, as she raised her oar high in victory. Next at number 7, we've got a weird one. Yes, we know this record has since been broken, but we had to include this one just because of the long-lasting impact it's left on the sport. It might be common now to use this technique, but Dick Fosbury was the first high jumper in history to flop over the bar to a then record 2.24 meters. What has since been called the Fosbury flop. The maneuver was created by Dick Fosbury at the 1968 Olympics in Mexico City. Ingenuity is always rewarded, and when Fosbury failed to make the distance by orthodox methods, he created his own and forever changed the sport in the process. Yes, the record has been broken since, but people wouldn't even know the technique if Fosbury hadn't come up with it back then. To be fair, if a technique is literally named after you, we think you deserve a spot on our list. Coming up at number 6, we don't know if we should count this as 1 or 7 records. Mark Spitz is a name that changed the Olympic track and field sports forever. Back in 1972 at the Munich Games, Mark Spitz set an insane 7 world record, but it doesn't end there. He set 7 world records in the span of 8 days. Imagine being able to say you once spent a week just breaking world records. Spitz didn't just have the talent, he knew he did as well. He had predicted at least 6 gold medals for himself 4 years prior at the Games in Mexico, but failed to meet his own expectations and only got 2. We say that as if winning 2 gold medals isn't all that, but when he came back in 1972, Spitz won 7 gold medals, exceeding even his own standards. For a long time, Spitz had the record for most gold medals won at one singular Olympics. And don't worry, we'll talk about who broke that record soon enough. Next up, our number 5 pick quite literally had to fight for his medal. Rulon Gardner ended up achieving the unthinkable at the 2000 Sydney Games. Practically everyone had ruled him out as a major underdog when facing the great and undefeated Alexander Karelin, but Gardner had his own plans. Alexander Karelin hadn't even lost a point in the past decade and was globally considered the best wrestler in the world. That's exactly why Rulon Gardner is on this list, as the American did the unimaginable and outlasted Karelin to take home Olympic gold. This might not be a record, but it was definitely a record-breaking performance from Gardner, winning the gold and defying all odds. Moving on, our number 4 pick achieved things far beyond sports with his world record. A lot happened at the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico City. As you can probably tell, tell how many times the event has been mentioned so far. This one was different though. This record was more than just a sporting achievement, as Tommy Smith made a stand for all the inequality that his fellow African Americans had seen. Smith broke the record for the 200-meter run, clocking in a time of 19.83 seconds. However, it was his actions after the win that really cemented his place in history. Smith and teammate John Carlos took their shoes off, put on some black gloves, and raised their hands to the sky to point out race equality. The same year as Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, Smith made his own mark on the world as both sports and African American icon. A statue was built at the San Jose State University in 2005 to honor Smith's courageous act. Coming in at number 3, this team became the definition of dominance. It's one thing to be the best at something, and it's another thing to be America's softball team at the 2004 Olympics. The team was so far ahead of every other competitor, they demolished anyone in their path. 51 runs scored and only 1 conceded. Now those are legendary numbers. Dubbed the Real Dream Team by Sports Illustrated upon their return, the team made light work of teams. The team destroyed the records for runs and for runs against by putting up the most memorable performance the sport had ever seen. They didn't even just beat the record, they beat it by a considerable margin, scoring 10 more runs and conceding 6 less than the previous record. Next up at number 2, we had to go with this legend. Usain Bolt is a name that will be a part of sports history for as long as time goes on. The Jamaican track and field athlete is one of the most well-known sports superstars in the world, and with good reason. The charismatic runner was light years ahead of his competition back in 2008, when he broke the world records for the 100-meter and 200-meter races. Bolt was so far ahead, in fact, that he slowed down toward the end of his races in celebration. That meant he broke the records after purposely slowing down to show off at the end. Bolt has since broken both records again when he competed in the 2012 Olympics only 4 years later. His records still stand, and it seems like it might be a while before we see someone as cool and as talented as the Jamaican. Finally, at number 1, it just had to be the human dolphin. We are sure you've been wondering why you haven't heard this name so far, and rightfully so, but we thought we'd save the best for last. No Olympic record list could ever be complete without the mention of all-time great Michael Phelps, the closest thing to a merman we've ever seen. Michael Phelps' success as a swimmer is unparalleled. We've already mentioned the man whose record Phelps was gunning for in Mark Spitz. Spitz held the record for most Olympic golds won at a single tournament with 7, meaning Michael needed 8 to truly crown himself the king of Olympians. Well, that's exactly what he did. Michael Phelps won 8 gold medals at the 2008 Olympics in Beijing and successfully carved his name in history as the greatest to ever do it. That's all for this video, guys. Which one of these records is your favorite? Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to comment down below to let us know what you think. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos just like this, and we'll see you next time.